everybody, and welcome to GLATD. We are your hosts, Jessica Milagros and Mr. Braden White. Babe, oh my God. Wait, before we start and discuss absolutely anything, want to say hey to everybody that is
Period.
out here with us today. We are so excited to talk about this first week of Big Brother Canada 11. We are going to let you know if we enjoyed it, if it's a diss or like if it's a miss or a hit, right? Like,
Period.
nay or a slay. Like we're gonna talk about it all today. Drop your comments, and let
Alright.
us know out of a 1 to 10. How do you feel like this first week of BB Can 11 went? Drop it in the comments and we'll be able to put it down. Before we talk about anything else, if you're new to our show, click like and subscribe, click to receive the notifications. We will be here every week, roughly about the same time. Braden and I finally decided that we were going to be doing Wednesdays, half hour after the show.
We say that now.
We
But I
say
mean,
it now. It could change, and we apologize deeply for
okay,
it.
yeah.
But
Just make sure the notifications on.
yeah, but just put those notifications on, and then you'll know when we decide to just randomly pop up on the screen. Braden, is that somebody else's shirt that you're wearing? Because I don't know how I feel about this, Bill. Are you wearing someone else's
Oh,
shirt?
that's what this is about?
I don't
Oh,
know. You
I thought there was gonna be something, a little bit bigger, when you said that you had to, figure me out as a game player.
I mean, I love you, but if you're going to be wearing other people's clothes, I don't think this is going to work. I mean, how is that going to make me look?
I mean, probably sane, you know. I would assume, but
Let's go.
girl.
That was a mess. That was such a mess. Katie says 3. I have hopes that it could get better from here, but messy gameplay. Happening this week. I
Not
agree.
-10.
Okay, Lexi. Oh, we see you, Lexi. -10.
Oh, baby, she didn't say 10. She said
I was
negative.
gonna say she's trolling us because we know it's not a 10, but then I didn't see the negative. I didn't see the negative, so my bad.
I'd be like that
5 out of
sometimes.
10. I'm like, what? Okay. How about you? Like as an overall, before we kind of jump into all of the things, Braden, what
Mhm.
would you give this season?
Um, hmm. This is a great question. I feel as though, in terms of just overall, I would say as of right now, in this moment,
Mm.
it's giving mid. It's giving, nothing too crazy, nothing too subpar. I think it's just like average at the moment. What would you
So
say?
with
Like it's
that,
like a 5.5, maybe a 6.
okay, a 5. I'm gonna give it. Look, I watched BB Can 7, so like I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna give this like a high 6, 7 maybe,
Okay.
because it's still giving. I think that this is gonna be a very big adjustment. I think
Mhm.
that we were kind of spot on with how messy we thought the cast was gonna be, and I think they're just gonna create more of a mess. I actually
Okay.
love that this is a messy cast. Like I think messy casts like just bring really good TV,
Oh, of course,
right?
1000%. 1000%.
I think the dailies have been a little disappointing, with the exception of today's daily. I
Okay.
think this today's daily, for those who have or have not been watching the dailies, um, some people have been disappointed. Some people aren't watching it at all because they're not feeds, and I get it.
Mhm.
But today's daily has been probably the most promising so far, with probably
Hmm.
the most game talk, and I think that for those who have been watching both the dailies and the show, damn, we're just lost. And it's
Yeah.
just giving it's just giving what the hell was I thinking
That's what I'm
and
saying, yeah, it's
what
just
is
giving, like,
actually
mid.
happening.
It's like, "Oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Love." But listen, this episode, they be being drama, though.
Right? I
Listen,
mean,
they be, living their, confessions of a teenage drama queen, is all I gotta say, because wow.
this before we even go into this specific veto, because we haven't talked since pre
Oh, yeah, that's
the
true.
last time we talked, we were here with Betty, we did our cast assessments, and we hadn't even watched the show. So coming into this, we had the HOH to HOH competition,
Mhm.
which and the twist, which we found out was a dead last twist, which is basically don't be dead last or else you automatically go on the block. So that we found out that the twist was that there's always going to be, or as of right now, there's always
Mhm.
going to be a third nominee. Whoever is dead last in the HOH will be the third nominee, and then the HOH will do the two not will
Mhm.
nominate two house guests for eviction. And then we also have the Bel Air twist, or the Bel Air insurance protection, home protection plan. I don't know what we're gonna call
It's
it.
insurance, baby.
The insurance plan, or the Bel Air Direct insurance plan, where they're gonna save one house guest every week. That Canada gets to vote. However, the vote seems to be a one-time thing. You can only vote for them once they are voted, or
Mm,
once they receive the Bel Air Direct, they can no longer receive it. So this week it went to Claudia. HOH was Santina.
period.
Um, and the people that were on the block originally were Anika, Renee, and Dan.
Yes.
Renee, because of
Yeah, because she finished last.
the finish,
The
or
dead last
the dead
twist.
last twist. Correct, correct. Um, how do we feel about all of this? It's a lot, right? We're dealing with trying to figure out the dailies. Then we have all
Yeah.
these damn twists. I didn't, it's like, wait, and then you realize that you're only voting for this Bel Air for like literally 24 hours. If not, I think it maybe gave people 15 hours to
Very
vote.
bad. I feel like it was very short.
It was very short.
I just feel like we're so used to like navigating the show from like a very like omnipotent viewpoint where it's like, oh, we know everything because we saw the feeds. So it's just like very, I think, weird like watching and like today's episode, like seeing Renee kind of being like the spearhead to like get herself off the block. It would have been interesting to see like if that's really what happened on like the feeds, or if it was like a whole collective agreement where people were like, no, 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 like I need to go tell Renee to go talk to this person to go get herself off the block because she can't be there right now.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it seems very rushed a bit. Just like with the edit. Um, but overall, listen, this is my fear. Is that, it's giving, like we said, middle of the pack, which isn't horrible. It could be a lot worse. Um, but like, aren't the first few weeks supposed to be like all the drama, like all like the excitement? Because I feel like middle of the season is when it's kind of, less flashy, less drama. It's more like, okay, yeah, this is probably what's gonna happen. And I'm like, if this is where we're at right now, baby girl, where is it going?
No, no, I don't think so at all. Look, I think that first week is very weird because look, I think what people fail to remember is that usually BB Can doesn't have first week feeds.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, right? So this whole digital dailies and what we're getting is actually more than what we've gotten last year, because I mean, hello, we literally had Melina was literally there for 2 days and was evicted, and we didn't see her on the feeds ever, right? So that was last year. Last year was we had no clue what the hell happened. In 2 days, everything kind of
I
worked itself through and she was gone.
I guess, but also like technically, we would have already had feeds as of like last Thursday.
True. But at that time, people are still going through like, okay, what am I missing? Like,
I guess that's
what are
fair.
what,
They can
we're
play catch
still
up.
trying to, yeah, they're trying to play catch up, and they're trying to be like, okay, so what are the alliances? Who are the people that are cool with each other? What are these relationships? And
Mhm.
I think we're in the digital dailies right now. We're seeing it as it happens, but we don't have a timestamp, and so we don't know when all of these
Mm,
things are
got you.
happening, which is a little confusing. And then they're definitely keeping a lot of whatever is on the dailies out, like, or what's on the episode out, because obviously for those who are doing the dailies and the show, we're all lost because what was this episode? This episode, like, my life on the dailies was that Zach has been wanting JM out for
Period.
this whole time. Even the episode yesterday and then today, all of a sudden that shit changes, and we're just like, wait, but where was this on the dailies? I'm so confused.
Yeah, a little bit of
Where
context is
where
missing.
is this whole Santina and Robert showmance? Because on the dailies it looks like they hate each other, or not hate each other, but that they're not really getting along. So I think it's confusing the crap
Mm,
out of us. But also, first week feeds, I feel first week when you're in the house, you confuse the shit out of each other regardless, because you're still feeling each other out. There's people that you would like the first day, and then all of a sudden, like week, or day 3 or 4,
worst
you're like,
better,
no,
and that's
you
it.
need, that's it. I mean, I could tell you, on my first week, chaotic. My first week was chaotic. In the
You had a
in
lot of
the
things going on. You had a lot of
in
things
the
going
in
on.
the in the third day, like, not even this, the third day we had two people trying to self evict. We had another person who was trying to just work the whole house, ended up putting themselves, like, they ended up going out pretty early in the season. But there was a lot of things that people didn't see that really confused the relationships in the house, because you're just like, why are
That's
they
fair.
doing this?
That's fair. I agree.
And I think that the digital dailies is just going to make more of a mess of that.
Well, my only thing is, like, did they say specifically that, like, the digital dailies are from that day, or is it just, like, an amalgamation of clips that they just upload on that day?
Um, they
'Cause
don't
that's the only
have
thing
timestamps.
that I could think of is, like, maybe, like, some of the clips are from, like, earlier days,
Yeah.
and then,
Well,
like, they just happened to upload them today.
they don't have timestamps on them. So what, we do get them daily, right? And we get
Mhm.
2.5 hours of it. But at the same time, you don't know whether or not those are going to be consecutive. If
Mhm.
it's a little bit of the day before or that night before, and a little bit of, like, during the day, or what, or if they're giving it to us, like, where they're giving us stuff that happened in the morning, like, at the end of the
Yeah.
daily. It's very confusing. I mean, needless to say, it's definitely been a chaotic week. Like, we're trying to figure out the relationships within the house. And we were completely wrong on who we thought Claudia was going to showmance with.
I mean, we were, but I had a feeling, listen, I sometimes it just be like that, from thinking back to my season, the showmances that really did butt out of, nowhere, it's adding up. The math is mathing, in my mind, at least.
She said she liked herself a tall, dark, and handsome with tats. I mean, Ty fits the bill. So
Except he really is we can get into it, but the way the way I got instant ick, like, watching the clip, instant
yeah.
ick. I was like, "Tomato, tomato, throwing tomatoes," like, "I gotta get out of here," you
Look,
know?
there are a few people on this cast where I'm just like, please take them off my damn screen. Just
I just
take
wanted to
them
catch a
far,
drama
far
queen.
away. I'm I think I'm gonna need to invest in a red flag just to, like, throw it up every time some shit like this happens, because there were so many red flags. Like, these past two episodes have just been, or like, yeah, yesterday and today's episode got me just my blood boiling of an
Yeah, instant irritation, fully.
insane, from the Zach mansplaining to like I'm sorry if let me tell you, and that's an interesting thing when Lexi said, because from the dailies we know that Zach and Rob are beefing, but we didn't know that it was
Like
specifically about
context.
Renee. Like we didn't understand the context, because from that we're just thinking, oh, it's two bros that are alphas that are just butting heads, because well, at least I thought in watching it, it was the Santina thing. Like they want to be the ear of
Gotcha.
the HOH, and somehow it's not,
Mhm.
something's not clicking there. um but then we find out that it's about Renee, which in this way, I mean, it's definitely does it like, well, we surprise surprise, Renee and Anika were on the block, and at least I said those two were going to be first boots, or they were at least going to get put up. That was just kind of a, something that I knew was going to happen, but I wasn't expecting for Zach to be kind of all over the place. He's gaming really hard,
Girl,
like too
I
hard.
said that, in all the words nicely, he was giving mansplainer vibes. But I I think it's just first of all, yeah, talking about that episode, I really just don't know how Santino wasn't like, "Sorry, what?" When he's like, "Oh, sorry if I'm mansplaining." We'd be like, "You are." And then when he's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to teach you how to play this game." Baby, I didn't know you were a returnee. I didn't know, were you on last season? Were you on the season before?
Right?
Were you on, a BB US season? Because I didn't know that you were teaching me. Um, I really needed a Victoria BB Can 9 moment, where she's like, "Don't talk to me, I guess my HOH room." Like that's really what I really needed. But instead she was like, "Yeah, oh my god, no, I totally get it. Whatever you want, like I'll do. I'm listening to you." And so again, instant ick. Red flag alert. I'm trying to get out. And then, today when he, has this gung ho plan that he's convinced the whole house to go along with, and then it's like, actually, we're not gonna do it anymore. And everyone's like, but why? He's like, oh my god, I'm just pissed off. Why are people even questioning me right now? Like, what the hell? Like, what? Baby girl, you're
this
doing too much. You're doing
this has been, this has been a very interesting, it's been an interesting week, because just of my position and how I stand, um what my views on bros. So this has kind of been a little bit of a hell week for me when it comes to bros alliances, and like all these bros. We knew like all of these bros were just
period.
gonna kind of get together. We knew that some of these specific ones were going to be a little bit of I don't know. I mean, when you call yourself the Kardashian of Ottawa, I'm sure that it's going to be the Zach show in his mind 24/7. So I kind of prepared myself mentally for it. As I was watching it, like, and knowing that I've been watching and also recapping on Bruno's show with Emmett is a little harder, because Emmett is one of his really good friends. And so just kind of trying to listen to the other side of things has been very, very insanely
I
interesting
mean,
for me.
but
I,
facts are facts, America. When it's right there in front of you, it came out of his mouth. Sorry if I'm mansplaining. Well, you're doing it. So,
for
yeah,
me.
like, I don't know what to say from there. If the person that's doing it is like, sorry if I do this, then it's like, well, there's no fault to me then for calling it out because you see it too, baby. You see it too.
Yeah, I mean, jewelry, he said, I said it before, I'll say it again. Zach is tiny, toxic masculinity energy that has to tell people he's an alpha, even though he isn't. But here's the thing. I think that he is. Um,
Is
he
what?
I think he is an alpha. I don't think he has to say he's an alpha to be an alpha. He definitely screams alpha, because what like alphas do is basically like try to run the show. And he's doing everything I feel like an alpha would do, which would be like run, run the show, tell people what they have to hear, not what they feel like they need to hear or whatever. It's like what he wants them to do. Like he's very much in that position. Um the mansplaining, you can miss me with that because I have no idea how Santina can have her HOH and sit there and listen to this man say, "Let me teach you how to play the game," as if he as if he was the end all be all of
Of the show, yeah.
the show, and as if they were playing the same game. Now, to hit like here's the thing, Zach can only get away with that because people let him. So like
Oh, very that.
if Santina's okay with her being spoken to like that, then that just kind of speaks a lot on, just the way Santina roles, and to me it was a little disappointing because I thought and I was hoping for a little bit more from her in terms of just like at least making it her decision. This whole JM, backdoor BS, like it makes no sense for her game. Like JM was never after her,
Which I think
and
very strange to me.
doesn't it?
It's obviously just, like, very it's just giving very, like, manipulated during my HOH, you know? Like, I'm just doing what I feel like I should do or, like, what other people are telling me, and, like, obviously, it's hard when like, I understand that point where it's, like, if you have, like, the people that you're working with and, like, there's 6 of them being like, "You need to get this person out." It's like, "Wow, am I gonna go against my own alliance, week 1 to get someone else out?" But it's I also feel like she just didn't really have any targets. Like, who really were her targets during the week?
I mean, true. Like when you're HOH first week, it's always a pretty hard week in the sense that you're going
Mhm.
to have to put someone up that you have nothing against. As I can see that as the week progresses, your targets kind of shift as
Yeah,
you're
of
starting to
course.
get to know people. But this one was just, it just didn't make sense. I think as I was watching dailies, I
Mhm.
was confused because I'm like, "Why JM?" Like, he's going after the bros, he's not going after her, and I get it.
Literally.
Like, she's trying to protect him. She's, like, trying to protect all 5 of these guys or however many bros there are, and, she's just here saying, "Oh, no. You need to go if you're gonna get rid of them," and it's like, "Girl, there's 5 of them." Like, if
Yeah, that's
let him stay, let him do the work for you. At least you know that when he's on, like, you don't have to worry about yourself, and
well,
you can maybe talk him out of some situations if in case,
no, I
you're
fully agree. I think she's a little bit has too much, like, blinders on in the sense where she's like, "Oh, I'm just, like, worrying about, like, the 5 or 6 of us, however many
yeah.
there is." But it's like, I think a big part of being HOH, especially week 1, is being able to set yourself up for, like, the following weeks.
Mhm.
And I think that, like you said, by keeping JM, she's at least guaranteed, at least I know if JM wins next week or if someone else is in power and JM is close with them, like he's not gonna be throwing my name out there. Like he'll be saying, get those big bros out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna talk about Santina, even though she was HOH last week, whatever, like we need to get rid of these bros. Which I feel like you said, it's like let these people do the work for you while you just kind of sit back and chill. Like me, if I hear this person is like, I want these people out, whatever. And like Zach was kind of saying, like towards like the end of the episode, where he's like, "Well, Jam's just gonna be like this big target moving forward. Like, why don't we keep him?" Again, that's very fair. But also, one thing that I feel like we're missing with the dailies that we don't really see with the feeds is that like I just wonder if because Zach had a lot of things to say about JM. Um, I do wonder though, like if for whatever reason, like JM is making the house kind of feel like uncomfortable because then I feel like that's a little bit more justifiable. Because again, the first few weeks, it's like, who can we get rid of for the most part? Who can we get rid of, to just have like chill vibes in the house?
Yeah. It with the with the dailies, it's been a very interesting watch because we've seen things that have nothing to do with, not nothing to do, but like nothing that some people would want to see. Like there was a whole hour of werewolf where it's like I don't want to see, day 4 of you playing, playing games. I want to see individuals talk game and how they feel about other people in the house and who's getting along with who. Not all 16 of you in one room playing a game. That's not really telling me anything, especially when you're using 50 minutes of the 2.5 hours that I have to, figure all of you out. Um that's a little maddening,
Yeah,
so
no, I agree.
um
I think
but
that's
they
something that they're probably having like a issue like figuring out because obviously like when it's just feeds, like nobody would have an issue watching them play werewolf for an hour. But I think it's like, oh, like knowing that I only have, like you said, like 3 hours of
Mhm,
time that you've allotted me, I would prefer if, 1/3 of it isn't just them playing a game. If we're gonna, be cutting
absolutely.
it down.
Absolutely. And I agree. Like the dailies just aren't matching the narrative. The and again, I left today even more confused because I really thought JM was just like a for sure, um,
That no one yet
a
had
for
even thought
sure
about anything
go. But now that we watched today's episode and we're looking at like that Renee was supposed to be
the target.
the target, now things are even more muddled because it's like, okay, now who's going tomorrow? Now, given, like I said, today was probably the best episode that they've had out of the three that had a lot more. That had a lot more game, that had a lot more interesting
Mhm.
pieces, but it was a lot because, like, where could this have been like yesterday when you had like 20 minutes of Hope farting, or having them randomly handcuffed to each other, or it's just beyond.
Yeah. And like it does make me sad though, like seeing like the little like handcuff thing because I feel like that would have been like great feed moments.
Yeah, I mean,
Besides the
it's
farting, because girl, that's enough to get you on the block. I'm sorry. Because I can't be dealing with that for a whole day, 24 hours. Absolutely not.
you know
Have a little consideration for your fellow house guests.
That's true. I mean, what I did notice though through these dailies was that Zach is not just playing hard. He's he's damn near playing a little too hard. Like
Oh,
like bro, you are gonna have yourself on the black by week 3. There's just no way, by the way you're talking to people, by the way you're mansplaining, by the way you're telling people, do you even know how to play this game? Like, do let me show you how to play this game, or calling people's choices absurd, when you're not the fucking HOH. Like, what is this? Dude,
well, that's my thing is that he always like leads it off with like you can do what you want, but what I'm telling you should do is you should do this. And then when people are like, I don't know, it doesn't really make sense for me. He's like, I mean, how does that not make sense for you? I mean, I just told you, babe. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, just because you're not getting what you want doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense.
yeah. Brian asked, is Zach playing harder than the bros on 21 or the bros on BB Can 9? That's a good question. And I would probably say he is playing about as hard as Jack was on my season.
Hmm.
During my season, Jack had about like 20 alliances. All within the first week. He was in a lot. That first week, actually, I don't think a lot of people knew this because we didn't have first week feeds, but Christy was our first HOH,
Mhm.
and he was trying really hard to backdoor Kemi, he like for the first week, kind of very very much the way that Zach is acting.
Mm.
He was very much like that with Christy, to the point where Christy was thinking, should I backdoor Jack? um and I think either someone had told him like, bro, you're like
You
going
need to
too
cool it,
hard,
yeah.
you need to cool it. Where he kind of calmed down a little bit, but then that second, that second week, as soon as he won HOH, which I was like right there, we were toe and toe. We were just one question away from me winning it. He fought,
Mhm.
he gets it. He puts Kemi and myself on the block because Bella threw
The
our
Black Widow
female
did.
alliance under the Black Widows. And yeah, which but I think in my mind, and then he was on the block week 3 for or week 4 for Cliff's HOH, and we couldn't do it because Bella ended up becoming more of a target than him. How the hell that happened? It was wild. But yeah, the thing is that he's playing really, yeah, he Zach is playing really hard, and this is ridiculous. But the thing is that by next week, someone will say, "Oh, I want him out," but then someone will do something to,
Yeah, it's giving. I feel like Ty is going to be like his kind of like having to like clean up after him, or even like Jonathan, if Jonathan is still, riding or dying with him. I feel like Jonathan has a lot softer touch with the way that he talks to the house guests and interacts with them all. So I feel like, if everyone's like, oh my God, this guy is like really pissing me off, like I need to get rid of him. I feel like Jonathan would be like, it's just Zach. Like, that's just how he is. Like, he doesn't mean any harm by it. And like you said, kind of like steer the target and like the heat off of him.
yeah.
But I think that it will happen sooner than later because I think one thing that's really hard for successful men is to check your ego at the door, especially for something like this because like you don't know anyone else. Like everyone else could be lying to you. Do you know what I mean? So for you to assume that you're the smartest, person in the room, like that automatically makes you the stupidest person in the room. So that's all I'm
Ooh,
saying.
ooh. Well, I mean, how do we feel? So this veto. So as we saw, Santina, this is crazy. Santina ended up taking JM to Wendy's, to her
Yeah, wow.
Wendy's day, right? And this is even more unheard of for me because like that made me even more upset for JM because I'm like, girl, you took him to Wendy's, you took him usually when you take someone to a Wendy's, it's like, I want to connect, let's
Yeah.
game, let's like, you know like work out some strategies or figure things out. And girl, you take him, you tell him he's safe, then all of a sudden you're like backdooring his ass while this episode, while you're still talking game, you know with him. It like the way she was acting and behaving. Do you think that that is a red flag for the rest of the house guests? Do you think that the rest of the house guests are looking at this and saying, oh no, we're gonna need to get rid of Santina soon?
I mean, I would definitely like keep it in my back pocket. I don't know if anyone's like looking at it as a red flag, just because from at least the show's edit, it seems like majority of people don't like JM. So do you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's someone who's like dearly beloved by the entire house. That's why it's like kind of red flaggy. To me, it seems like almost the whole house is kind of like giving her like the go ahead, do it. Like it'll make everyone's life easier. So I don't think it's too shady now. But I think that the person that you should take to Wendy should be, like you said, the person that you're trying to game with, the person that you're trying to get more info on. Um, and it just does seem weird to like promise someone safety and then be like, oh, let me take you to Wendy's and like let's relax and then be like, psych, you're going on the block.
It's wild. And not only that, it's just like it really just didn't make sense for her personal game. I think what upset me and what's still bothering me so much is the fact that Zach went so hard last episode to actually backdoor JM and
That's
be
insane.
and it's like all these reasons why and why it makes sense. And oh my god, he's in love with me. Like, okay, let's calm down there. That sounds a little problematic. um it just gave me just all of the bad vibes. For today, it to be like, no, it now needs to be Renee. James not that, not that much of a threat. It needs to be Renee, 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 and then you guys are, you know, he doesn't understand. That's the kicker, is that he doesn't understand why they're not going for the Renee aspect, and it's just absurd when
Yeah.
he's the one who put JM in the
That's
forefront
what
to
I'm saying,
begin
that's
with.
why I'm like, you literally put it in everyone's mind that, JM's this huge, strat comp beast that's, trying to control the whole house, getting everyone's head, this, that, whatever, and then everyone got on board with you, and then one person was like, it was Renee who, I mean, low-key was like, "Yeah, all the guys." I also it's just wild to me that he keeps asking people like, "Yeah, I don't know why everyone thinks all the guys are working together." And they're like, "Yeah, I mean, all the guys are always together, so I guess it is kind of weird." He's like, "How dare you say that to me right now? You know what? You're gonna go on the block if you keep this up." I'm like, "You're the one that asked the question. You're the one who's like, yeah, I mean,
Well,
all the
but
guys keep going in rooms, and I don't know why
I
everyone thinks that's so weird."
I will say though, for people who did watch the dailies, like off the bat, even in the first episode, I'm thinking these people are not too bright. They're
Oh,
not the brightest crayons, which we knew because we knew it was going to be a messy season. This is kind of what like we wanted to see. I think that it's why they have, non-player like non-players or non-fans in the show because I think they're more willing to do a lot crazier things or say really dumb things that us fans and super fans and people that play the show would say like that's very stupid for you to say to somebody like why would you say that um
well, I'm like, "Sir, you can't be asking
you
stating all these statements," and then people are like, "Yeah, I mean, I have seen that." He's like, "Oh my god."
but he's well his what Zach is saying that's kind of stupid and crazy is him obviously being condescending and a
Yeah.
whole mansplainer um and just not adaptable whatsoever to people, right? Um that's the kind of the kicker, but JM and why I don't know if people like JM or if it's a consensus of the
Mhm.
house, it's definitely the the idea that someone aka Zach has put out there to make people not like him.
Very that.
And but a little bit of JM as well because he's a super fan and he's pretty much the only person right now in that house that hasn't been proclaiming that he's a super fan because Daniel to what we know of has not told a single soul as to what he's been, doing in the house. He's also very irrelevant at this point in the game because we have not seen him on digital dailies. We haven't seen him at
Mm.
absolutely anything. So I'm sure that he's just keeping low. It's not that he's not playing the game. I think he's just trying to figure things out. For someone, for people who know Daniel, they know like this is not his usual strategy. If anything, he's
Hmm.
pretty much trying to adapt to what the house looks like. And now the house is a crazy hot mess. Like I'm pretty sure he's just sitting back trying to figure out the landscape of things and let people kind of attack each other, before all of that, happens. But going back to JM, he has told everybody he is. So everybody's looking at him as a like this massive player. He's already told the boys to their face that he's getting rid of them, which is like the stupidest thing as a fan, knowing that you're a super fan and telling the bros that you're getting rid of the bros. That is by far, one of the surefire ways to get yourself like, you know,
Oh, fully. It's
taken
not the
down.
smartest thing to say, especially to one of the men that are
Yeah.
in the bros. Um, and like, I don't know if he was doing it to maybe try and like strong arm them into like wanting to like work in an alliance with him, but whatever he did truly did not work out for him.
For sure. First off, thank you, Pika, for the super chat. Pika's been with us for a couple years, probably since the beginning.
A real
This is
one.
in Spanish. He is saying yes,
Talk about
goodbye,
it.
Santina. And they're in El Salvador for a vacation. So they're on vacation right now. Thank you for watching us on vacation. This
Yeah,
is
in El
amazing.
Salvador.
I would love to. I need to get out of here for sure. Um
Now I need to get out of here for sure.
I'm dying, Elisa.
No, because girl,
What
what?
what is this? Like, okay, so
Uh,
now we had the mansplainer. So the bros are looking really, really desirable right now. We got the mansplaining Kardashian. We have the jealous the jealous Toronto boy and Hope, who I'm really surprised was that this was not on the episode, but Hope in the first couple of days was already having like almost like self eviction vibes because he was just all over the place, contemplating, the game and that he's not fit for it. And he was kind of going on a downward spiral where Zach had to kind of coach him back together, to the point where, Santino was just like, what's up with this guy right now? Like he's all over the place. I mean,
no, what's up with this guy?
so we already got three up in here. We got, Jonathan to me is still he's right here. He might be one of my winner picks. If I ever had to pick a bro for a winner pick, I'm sorry. I think I would have to pick
Girl,
Jonathan. Not
because
saying much, but
yeah, it's just like they're just doing too much. I just, but yeah, we can talk about the whole sweater gate because I really thought that he was going to be well, I thought maybe he was gonna say something like, "Oh, I've been hearing you're trying to start an all girls alliance. Like, what does that mean for us? Blah 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 blah. Or like, what does that mean for me? Or like, oh, you're super close with Renee, and like we're trying to get Renee out this week, so like, it's just kind of frustrating me like what we're gonna do." But instead, he was like, "Yeah, because of the sweater you were wearing." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw you wearing someone else's sweater, and how does that make me look? Huh? How do you think that makes me look in here? I'm showmancing with someone, and they're wearing someone else's sweater. Like that's just
not the sweater.
embarrassing."
I'm sorry, Bray, on your season, I wore, and I'm a married woman to a Toronto man. So like I was wearing other men's sweaters. Is that like we were wearing, everybody was wearing each other's
Yeah, we were
things.
all trading clothes. Like
We were
I just thought that's
sharing
what.
hats, we
Yeah,
were
because what else do
sharing
you do? You're just having
t-shirts.
fun. Yeah, no, it was giving weird behavior. Is all I'm gonna say. I was like, oh, this is what you're upset about right now.
This
This
is
is
this is
oh.
major red flags here. First off, I want to say, Claudia, run. Run as far as you can, girl. Run like a bird. Oh, no. You had to fly
Run
like
like
a
a bird.
bird. Like
No,
the
it was
bird. I don't, why did I say that? Anyway, but you already get it. Run, just run as far away as
yeah,
possible.
get out of town,
This
girl.
man, the biggest red flags I have ever seen, and I'm not a referee. So I'm just saying, I saw the red
It
flags
was
from
just
miles
weird
away.
behavior for within like a week and a half of living with someone being like, "Yeah, what is it gonna say about me?" It doesn't say anything about you, babe, because what? Huh? But then I
It
wonder, do you think maybe Zach put something in his head?
I don't know at this point. Here's the thing, Claudia, from if people weren't watching the dailies, Claudia in the very beginning kind of put her foot in her mouth and also said that she was targeting
That's what I'm
the
saying.
bros.
So
So she did have a conversation with Zach, and her conversation with Zach was very much like uh
I
you
don't know.
know
I see you guys hanging
I
out. I
see
don't
you
know.
guys
That's what I
hanging out.
hear.
So like what is this, right? So we do know that is the case. She also has been pushing Santina for, like, hey, there's a lot of guys here. We need to take a bro out, and that like
Mhm.
kind of put red flags on Santina. Why? Again, I don't know. It's just she's like, "What? You want to get rid of the guys? I guess we can't be in an alliance together."
Yeah, I just don't know. I
I
mean, either way, he has a lot of insecurity issues he needs to work through. But I was just wondering if, I'm not trying to give too much credit to anyone, but if, maybe Zach had mentioned, like, don't you think it's weird that like this girl you're like flirting with, like she's wearing other bros like sweater? Isn't that weird? 'cause all it takes is one man to say
Literally.
that to another man, it's
I
just like,
mean, for
"You're right.
sure,
That's
we could.
who does
At
this
at
chick think
this
she
point
is?"
at this is the thing, a lot of people like Claudia was saved in this last,
Mhm.
Bel Air, insurance, vote, and so the thing is that I think it happened not just because she's from that she's a East Coaster, but also because she was one who was very much about wanting to target the guys. Now in the dailies, like she literally had a double date with, with Ty and Hope and Renee, which made zero sense as to how you're gonna have an open double date on the, I don't know, seventh or eighth day of being in a house. And it was just wild to me, that she could, knowing that there's so many bros, and seeing this hot and cold from, from him. Not
Well,
only like let's not talk about Sweatergate. Let's talk about all the other
I
bullshit.
was gonna
You
say,
know what I
like,
mean? It's
this
not
is
even
like
just
this is
Sweatergate.
like yeah, I was gonna
That's
say,
the
like,
icing on the
earlier with
cake.
him, like, being like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do," and she's like, "Well, I mean, like, have you thought about it?" "I don't know." "Yeah, sure, mhm." Like, but then I'm like, was he still mad about the sweater? Like, has this what it was all been stemming from or what? Like,
Exactly. Like, so I'm sorry, but the man that you are going to be in a showmance with is not giving you any information. Pretty red flag. The man that you are trying to get into a showmance with also hangs out with the other four bros in the house. Other red flag. Uh, the other red flag is that, what would be the other red flag? He he have you heard him talk? Like, not this okay. So not to be mean, because obviously I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, and this is obviously with all due respect. I- the way he talks is just another version of the way Zach talks, in terms like he is also kind of a mansplainer. He is also someone who thinks he has it all figured out, and he's the one who's promising people that they're safe when what? Like, when I'm sorry, when someone is saying, "I promise you, I can't tell you everything, but you're completely safe." Like, how do you feel about that?
yeah, I mean, to me, again, it's just giving red flag, especially for someone that you're supposed to be working with or, like, that you're trying to, like, build a relationship with, and it's like, "Oh, I can't tell you everything, but, like, just know that you're good." And it's like, yeah, that works sometimes, but also, like, it's week 1. I think the issue is that the bros just feel like they're running the game, and I mean, like, to an extent they are, but, like, it's week 1. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, "Oh, it's been 8 weeks of us getting everything that we want." I'm like, "It's been 13 days." Like, let's relax, the game flips on a dime. All it takes is for one
Yeah.
person to be like, "You know what? You're all going on the block, all 3 of you."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take much. So, like, let's cool it down. But also, I would say that, like, in the first 2 episodes, Ty was playing very, very hard, very fast, like, telling people, "You need to go talk to this person. This is what we're gonna do. You gotta throw this. Let's do this. I need you to do this." Like, again, just relax, take it easy. I think there's just, like, too much of bros trying to, like, assert themselves as, like, "Oh, I'm running the game," you know? When it's
Yeah.
like, the game isn't a sprint, it's literally a marathon, so, like, sure, if you wanna run the whole show this week, I guess go ham, but, like, know that there's still 9 other weeks that need to be run, so let's, ease into it.
Yeah. I mean, and you definitely see those cracks forming, right? I think now with this episode, I think things are starting to we're starting to get a better picture, not the full picture, right? But we're getting
Mhm,
a sense of a better picture of people's relationships, in hopes that we could kind of make better predictions of like how the season is going. I think there has been a lot of people talking about the season in general and being very disappointed, and obviously with the feeds, I just
mhm.
feel so bad for Queen Orissa even having to take her comments off of her Twitter, because people just can't seem to stop harassing her.
Yes, ma'am.
It's, just spamming with live feeds whenever she posts. And it's so unnecessary. And at the same time, it there's still things that need to be addressed and fixed with these dailies and the episodes today
Mhm,
being kind of hopefully promising in terms of what we can seeing
mhm.
more
Things
today I
moving
saw more
forward.
game talk. I saw a lot of things going on, prior to, um but this just needs to stay consistent,
Yeah, no, I agree. Um,
right?
but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. But yeah, oh, and then we didn't talk about so then the veto happened. What did you think of the veto competition?
I was gonna say now
Like,
this
girl,
This actually has I've already gotten about 5 messages with the whole Thai giving Monty vibes with that whole Sweatergate comment. Just
yeah, because it's just weird. Like I said, it's just weird behavior. Like, are you okay? Like, I just don't know how you as a grown man, how you as grown anyone, like I just it's just wild to me that like imagine if Claudia was like, "Oh my god, yeah, I saw you, working out with someone else." Like, what does it look like on me? It's just weird. I think men have like this weird possessive belief over women, which is just another thing, but like anyways, back to the veto.
yeah, because we could talk about this Sweatergate and
Girl,
Zach's internal misogyny like forever.
girl, I could write a book.
But
Um,
no, I totally get it. Well, actually, yes, let's talk about this video because I feel like, wow, this looked hard. It looked intense. It was endurance at its best. And I've always said, especially coming from US, I think that BB Canada's comps are superior to the ones in the US, to be quite
down
honest.
south.
I just feel like they're more interesting. I don't know. I think these last few competitions were insanely good. I mean, the HOH is not just you're not just building a puzzle. That was
Yeah,
insane of like,
there's a lot of aspects
taking
to
the
it.
rope, taking the rope with the envelopes and having to go down the net and just and then put together the piece. I think that just it's so great. I even think that the Kevin puzzle was the 3D puzzle. I'm like, what the hell? Now we're not even doing just regular, survivor puzzles. We're doing a whole 3D aspect of a whole human, but that's fine. And then this one again, it's very similar to the slip and slide I've played on my season
My dream
with
comp.
Oktoberfest, but this one's like laying down. So
It was
that
reminding me of like the I think it was like the Final Four veto from last season when they were in like the grates. Do you remember? And they had
oh
to like pull
yes.
themselves around like underneath the BB can house. So it was like giving me those vibes. But no, I think like the games team does like an amazing job every single time. Like it's always very unique. And even if it is like a similar aspect of something that we've seen, like there's usually some type of twist or like something that makes it a little bit different this time around. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I loved and it was long. And it was just like, yo, because you would think that it would be hard enough because for US, you would literally just go back and forth to fill up
It's
the
the beat. Yeah.
liquid
Yeah. Swear to
with the
God.
liquid. But no, you have to go back and forth to fill up, the beaker. Then you have to drain all the water to put it in a completely different container. Then you're going to go back and forth to get slop so that you can throw it into the container. Like, what is this? Like, you're making, and the thing is
Yeah.
that you're making slop. It, it's kind of fun.
Yo, very that.
I love the play on words, how things are gonna get sloppy and just I
It was cute. I
it
did
was cute.
enjoy it. I feel like I always enjoy the competitions.
Yeah. I think what was the name of it? Oh, can't slop, won't
Won't
slop.
slap.
Always so very clever with their things. I enjoy them too. I like watching BB Can for the competitions. I really
I
do.
agree.
I don't care how many commercials I'll go through a Wendy's commercial. I'll go through a Shark Vac commercial. Today we had a Hello Fresh commercial. I
Period.
don't know how many other commercials we're gonna have to. I'll go through the Bel Air Direct commercials. What else are we doing? Oh wait, I also had to talk about yesterday's episode because we're kind of going back and forth. But how do we feel about this whole Herman first week HOH and how Santina had to actually watch a video before she even knew who Herman
I
was?
I wonder if, like, I mean, I think it's cute to have, like, someone who it's so weird because wasn't on BB Can 8, wasn't it, like, all their family members that was, like, serving them Wendy's, which I think is cute and nice because it's, like, a little reminder of home and, like, makes you want to, once you can
To
get that
win. Oh,
message from home.
absolutely.
Um, and I think, like, starting last season, right, was where, like, they started integrating, like, past house guests coming back, which is cool. I think it's interesting as long as it's, like, applicable to you, and I think Herman gave decent advice of being like, "Listen, like, make sure you're setting yourself up, girl." And she was like, "Anyways, I'm gonna do what I wanna do."
I forgot. Wait, how did you all? Oh, because it was during like right during COVID, so you weren't getting anything.
We got a message from home. It was a video.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, and then you said you were right because the 8 I'll always just remember Chris's mother giving him
Him being like,
giving
"Bye, Pam."
giving him and then she him not knowing it was his own mother giving him the Wendy's.
I think it's
I
just because, like, it's such, like, a out of context place. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not expecting, like, "Oh, my mom's gonna be in the Big Brother house." So you're just like, "Oh, wow.
True.
Thanks, girl.
Thanks. See you
Woo."
later. And he hugs her, still hugs her
Gets a kiss, and he's like, "Wait a
as if
minute."
it's still a Wendy's staff. Like, oh,
So
he's
funny.
really
But
nice just hugging random Wendy's staff.
I do wonder if she actually didn't know who Herman was, and, like, she really needed the video to be like, "Oh, okay," or if she knew.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think we'll really ever get to know until we talk to Santina herself, right? Because the
Period.
thing is more than half of this cast has not watched more than one season, or two seasons tops. If they did watch 2 seasons, it's probably an older season and last season because last
Yeah,
season
I
was,
feel like people usually, like, default to, like, season 5 and, like, the newest season.
yeah, so maybe she did know Herman because I mean it's still a very recent
Hmm.
season, but I just thought just in case put the little iPad down, press play so that you know who this
Oh,
cat
it's
is,
definitely, like,
you
a
know?
little insurance, and that's the Bel Air insurance protection, maybe. They're like, "We'll
Just
make sure
in
they know who
case,
it is."
press play so you know who I am, and now I'm gonna serve you your Wendy's.
Very that. But I thought it was cute. I thought, it seemed also so strange though that they get breakfast now.
Well, yes, they've had breakfast since last year. Have
But
you
some of
ever
the
had Wendy's breakfast?
no,
I mean, I'm not gonna really toot its horn because it's not paying us to, but their hot honey chicken biscuit is pretty bomb.
I
So if
don't think we have
anybody
that in
wants to
Canada, to be
have
honest.
the breakfast or the hot honey chicken
The
biscuit,
hot honey chicken biscuit.
oh, then bless your lucky stars because that's just 10 pounds waiting to happen. Like I had a hot honey chicken biscuit and I swear the first time I had it every day
Oh,
that
that's when you know
week.
it's good. That's when you
And
know
I
it's
was just like, "Oh no, no. This cannot I cannot be doing this." So, we have not had Wendy's since I think October of last year. So, this girl has been Wendy's free.
well, never say never. I mean, maybe you'll be in that Wendy's video.
And now that there's no live feeds, I'm gonna be like these other Twitter birds that, reply to Wendy's and saying, "We're not getting Wendy's because you took away the live feeds."
Oh my god.
So so unnecessary.
It's really too much.
And they are.
But wait, yeah, to circle back to the veto. Do you feel like I know some people were saying on Twitter that they feel like this veto is just very geared towards um like a physical attribute. So do you agree with that? Do you feel like it was just kind of like a shoe in for one of the guys to win to ensure they don't go home week one?
Um, Here's the thing. I think that it is a very physical comp, and at the same time it's there were some physical girls there as well that
Mhm.
I could have won. Like, I think, well, actually no. No, I was gonna say someone like Claudia probably could have won, but her legs are too short. So I don't think that she would, because I feel like
Yeah.
you're pushing yourself off on your back using your legs. And so
Mhm.
the guys have like very long,
Yeah.
long legs. And so, but of course, if you're thinner, then you're sliding a lot easier
Mhm.
on that, on that
Tarp,
floor,
whatever, yeah.
the tarp, because yeah, but if your legs are short, it's not really carrying you to much distance. But we saw, like, it was so close between Dan and Ty.
Mhm.
The only thing that I think it was, what, like 3 scoops that they were behind
Mhm.
on, and Dan had finished way before, or it looked like he finished way before Ty did. And I would probably say it's because he's thinner, because it seems
Mhm.
like they're about the same height or whatnot. So the fact that Dan was just a little bit thinner just meant that he was just kind of sliding through it faster, at least in my opinion. I couldn't say, you know
Interesting.
but yeah, it is. I mean, and that's what it's gonna do, right? I think with these type of competitions, they are geared more toward the endurance and physical aspects of a player, which is why I don't believe that there should be 5 bros in one season to be able to dominate that. I think other people who are pro bro would say, well, they're not going to win all the competitions because you also have puzzles, you also have mental comps, and
Mhm.
all these other things. But at the same time, like, what bro not all bros are stupid. It's not like you're saying,
Yeah.
like, there are, like, the bro part, the physical part is the reason you're getting rid of them, not because it's the only thing they could do. It's
Yeah.
because they can also do the other things. So it's not just I don't know why some people think that bros
Stupid.
are dumb,
Vapid.
and that's not it. It's
Yeah.
they just tend to think and move in packs, and that's just not a good thing.
Oh, of
That's
course.
you know but yeah, I think hopefully for the next one, what do we think? Actually, let's go into, like, as far as what we think, because now we know Ty, at least from the from this episode, Ty won
Mhm.
the
Levito.
Ty won the veto. Ty didn't want to tell Claudia what he was thinking. Ty wanted to complain and say that Claudia was wearing another man's sweater. And then
Lord.
he proceeded to take off Anika so that JM could be backdoor, something that Claudia did not know. And we see, like, in the dailies, that she's actually very upset at the fact that this happened, because she had no clue that
Mm.
this, was happening. Um, but aside from that, what do we think now? He now took off Anika. She puts up JM. The idea here is that they wanted Renee gone.
Mhm.
Ty was still on board for Renee, which is why he took off Anika and not Renee.
Mhm.
Right? This could still be, because
They
I
could
was
still
always
flip.
yeah, I think what people were confused about in general was that in the dailies, it made it seem that Renee and Ty were very cool. Like,
Mm.
Ty has been talking to everybody just about the same as, like, Zach has, and has
Mhm.
been promising a lot of people just safety. And Renee was
Red flag.
definitely one of them. Renee was definitely one of them. And he was saying, I got you, don't worry, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Renee was and is a little upset at the fact that Ty played the veto for Anika.
Mhm.
For those who haven't watched, the dailies, she did mention that upset her quite a bit, and it upset her that he took her down versus using the veto on her,
Mhm.
because originally, I guess the original um
Plan, thought,
relationship was,
stuff.
well, the original relationship was with Ty was with Renee. So it just seemed very odd that they've switched and he's willing to backdoor Renee.
Mm.
Um yeah. And willing to backdoor Renee over everything that Zach said. So now we have people that we know want to backdoor Renee. But
Mhm.
now Roberto does not want to backdoor Renee. And he wants to get rid of John Michael. You don't see a lot of this in the episodes, but Kuzi behind the scenes is kind of trying to, uh, work some magic as well, kind of creating little chaotic
Mhm.
moments and such. And although she also threw JM under the bus initially to
Mhm.
Santina during her HOH, during their HOH talk, or
Yeah.
their meeting, she's kind of been JM's ear throughout this whole thing. She's gotten a lot closer to JM and talking game with him. And now it's kind of like the way they're campaigning. It seems that Dan isn't really promising anybody anything, but JM is promising loyalty. So there's just kind of this
Yeah.
ooh.
A little, I think it's also hard because I think that, uh, Big Daddy K, can really see that I feel like JM is someone that would try to protect her if he stays. And he has, like, the potential, I guess, to win and go after the Bros versus someone like Renee at the moment, at least, finished dead last. So it's kind of like, well, you can tell me that, you wanna work with the girls, that's great, but, like, if you're gonna end up dead last every week, like, that doesn't really help anyone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. I think a new digital daily came out today. I'm only halfway through it, but I don't know. Just like Brian said, we don't get the full picture from 2.5 hours of dailies. Some of it
Mhm.
is just not, giving. But I did hear that today's daily was very promising in terms of the content, that we got. Um, and again, yeah, Joseph says, I thought the boys wanted JM gone. And that's the whole thing, is that I think that there's a couple of narratives that are being played, right? I think Big Brother as a whole, they're always gonna edit to make you very unsure of who's gonna be going home.
Of course. I
They
mean,
want to confuse you.
makes you tune in.
Inside tea, like
Oh.
inside tea. But, we were always told when we were being interviewed, like in the diary rooms, it would always be like, give us a scenario of like what you're planning on doing, or who are you planning to back, or who
Hmm,
are you planning
interesting.
to target, who are you planning to vote for, or what are your options. And
Mhm.
if you were like, I'm dead set on this person,
Mhm.
they would always tell you, okay, but give us a scenario if that can't happen. What are other options? And it's like, there are no other options. It's this person or bust. Like, production will not take that as an answer. That's just like,
Oh,
they are
okay.
not going to do that. It's like, we're not going to work a whole week of an episode for you to know exactly who's going home. Like, that's just not good TV, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying that it's scripted in that sense, right? They're just saying, like, we want you, maybe you're not thinking this through. Give us all of your options. They're always
All
kind of
the
trying to get
scenarios.
more. Give us all your scenarios. What is this? In some cases I've seen things where it's like, oh, you wanted to target, Tommy at some point. And I was like, what? Never. I would have never Tommy. But there was one moment where it was like, I'm so dead set on this person and it's the only person I can target because I don't want anybody else to go home.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, but you're going to have to put two people up. So, like, who is that other person that you're targeting? And then I would be like, I guess it's this person, but it's not someone that I originally even wanted up
Yeah.
there. So
Okay.
it's
Interesting.
really hard to kind of figure out how this is going to work. Who do you think, Brayden, would be the best bet to go home this week?
I think it depends on a few things. I think that if we want good TV, if you want to see drama and like chaos really unfold, then I think that we probably want Jam to stay. Just because I think he'll make it very clear, very, announce to everyone, like, these are the people that I'm coming after. Like, if you keep me, I'm coming after Zach, I'm coming after Ty, I'm coming after Jonathan, I'm coming after, all these people. So like you don't have to worry about that. It's very reminiscent of Josh from my season when he did like his little pitch to like the six people, and he's like, "Listen, you're the only six that I'm pitching to. Everyone else is like, these are my two targets. This is who I'm trying to go after. And if you keep me, like, you can put me up as a pawn. That's no problem. But like, you guys aren't going to be my targets until there's at least six of us left, kind of thing. So I feel
Yeah.
like if people want the drama and kind of want a bigger target to stay in the house, then definitely going with JM. I think that if they potentially want someone they know they can beat in upcoming competitions, at least as of right now. I mean, it's only been two competitions, so like, what can you really see? Um, but like, if you want someone that you feel like you have a better chance against, that is kind of doesn't have that much sway with the house, then I would probably keep Renee. Just because, I mean, I don't think she has as much sway over the house as like JM would. And I think that she might be easily more swayed to keep one of the boys versus JM seems like someone who'd be like, Santina's going up next week for sure. And then one of the other bros. So if y'all want
Yeah.
that, then keep me. But I will say that this episode, I think, did leave or kind of build up and kind of put into play. There's like a lot of distrust amongst the alliances. And I feel like
Yeah.
this is where the outliers of the alliances become really important, like the Daniels or the Koozies, because it's like, okay, well, my alliance is imploding on me. I need a number for sure. Let me pull from somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Because we see
Yeah.
the distrust starting between Claudia and Ty. We see what's his name? With his distrust with Zach.
Oh, Roberto.
Roberto, who's already like, I don't really know about that. And I feel like people know that Ty's kind of Ty is Zach's like number one. So I feel like it's kind of splitting people up there. We see, and I think someone was saying in the Digital Daily today that the girls have kind of all like put the pieces together and they're kind of realizing that maybe we haven't been as, you know, invested or really realizing what's going on during Santina's HOH. So for that reason, I feel like that's why they maybe. This is hard because I feel
It's so
like
hard.
they want to keep the girls together. So it's like, oh, like obviously great at JM, but it's like if we want someone to go after the boys, it might have to be JM that goes after them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Yeah, someone says, in what scenario does JM stay? Like, well, we don't know. The crazy part is that there's three people that are up on this on the nominations up on the block, right? So
Oh, I guess Dan could
technically,
go home. I really did
yeah.
forget about
Oh
Dan.
yeah, Dan could totally go home. And sorry, not sorry. I had nothing against you. Totally cool and great guy, but you're just not really giving at all in this situation. Like, you have not talked game. Like, if you look at any of these, episodes,
Mhm.
he's been completely kind of non-existent in sense, but it's also like, but you're also on the block. So you would think that you would be trying just as hard as JM,
I guess.
to stay, or Renee's pitches. Like, why is Dan's pitches not? really showing, you know.
Yeah. I guess for the girls, though, I guess, yeah, I guess hypothetically, like, it would probably be best case scenario for them to send home Dan, and that way they keep a girl, so a number for them. And then they're also keeping JM, who said he's gonna be coming after the guys. And I mean, like, he's coming after Santina, I'm sure. But like, I feel like Santina's made it very clear that she's kind of rolling with her bros, and that's kind of like the bed that she wants to lay in. So like, I mean, I feel like if I'm on the outlier side of the house, which I somehow always find myself in,
Same,
um,
same boo.
I feel like I guess, try to get rid of Dan. But again, it just
Absolutely.
depends because like Brian's or like Josh is saying, like everyone does try to vote like with majority. So it's like I feel like it might literally come down to like an hour before the vote where it's like, okay, what are we doing? Like if someone has a
Yeah.
really good pitch, like if JM comes in here with his persuasiveness, he might stay, you know?
Yeah. I think I mean I agree with you. I think that in the type of world that I want to see, in the type of Big Brother that I want to see, I want to see people going after the bros. I want there to be, a person who is going to say their minds, do crazy, outlandish things and be a little
Or
bit chaotic, regardless of whether I like them or not. That's what makes Zach and JM good TV, because they're just kind of, you always have to root for, the people that, or not root for, you always kind of have to have a villain so that
yeah,
you
very
have someone
contrasting
to root
people.
for, right? There has to be a contrast. Now, with JM staying, would make great TV, because technically if Renee was to leave, which would have been probably best case scenario, um, for some people,
Hmm.
not because Zach is right, because every reason that he could have came up with to Santina for wanting her gone is just insanely bad gameplay. Like, first of all, like no reason an HOH should be getting rid of Renee, because she is the only person that that Santina did not put up.
Period.
Meaning that Renee has nothing against Santina.
Yeah.
So they could easily be working together in the future. Now, you keep Dan and you keep JM, and those are two people that not only did she backdoor, but she also, like she
Yeah,
put
she
up
put them
Anika.
up.
Exactly, she put them up. So it would be assumed that they're not going to have those relationships with Santina, and that they're going to go after her, right? Those are the people that you kind of want to see stay in the house.
Of course.
Um, Now, Dan doesn't really give much TV. Like, he hasn't really even been in the digital dailies, as some people have been saying in the comments. Like, so it's like he's not really giving much, and we don't know where he stands. In the digital dailies, he said that like during his campaign, there were some people who were complaining that he was saying that it's too early for alliances, but he might work with them in the future. And that's kind of like how his pitch went, and they really didn't like that, versus where JM is just very like, you vote for me, I'm down for you, I'm going to be loyal. And I think that that's what some people want to hear,
Of
and they
course.
want yeah, like now my worry, and I think everybody's worry when we watch these things, is that it's going to be a unanimous, house decision, which is going to be boring and uh, blah, you know um given that it's three, but no, but given that it's three
Nominees.
people,
We love a
you
split
have,
though, but
yeah, it would be fun to see
listen,
some
as a
split
viewer,
votes.
it's great. But that was one thing that was always in my mind that I don't think people ever realized when they were there. But I was like, listen, everything that we do every week has to be memorized. So like if I know it's a unanimous week 7 weeks in a row, I'm chilling. You know, like when I remember I'm like, oh
No,
yeah,
no.
11-0, 10-0, 8-0, instead of being like it was 7-4, but then now for 3 people, it's like, oh, it was like 3-5-2.
That would be
Hold on.
horrid.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, me personally as a game player, I'm like, let's make it unanimous. Let's make my life easy. That way, when I'm reviewing it next week, I'm like, okay, so and so gets evicted unanimously, 11-0. Next,
Yeah.
we're out.
But we just know that not all these three people are good for all 16 people's
Oh, of
games.
course.
That's just ridiculous. Let's
I yeah, I think that, like we said, I think for the guys, I think that they'd obviously be smart to get rid of JM. I think that he made it very abundantly clear that he's coming after them. They've made it very abundantly clear to everyone in the house that they don't fuck with him. Um, and I think for the girls, it might be a little bit smarter to keep JM.
yeah.
Personally,
Yeah. Considering that we don't know, I would love a blindside, Brian. I would totally love a blindside. I mean, who doesn't? We love blindsides. Everybody loves to watch a good blindside. But the thing is, it's just like since we're not watching Dan on these dailies and we're not seeing him talk to anybody in the show, like we don't have any idea of the relationships that he's built and
mhm,
who would vote for him. You know what I mean? I think you hear the bros, you hear that guys hear that JM wants the bros or boys out. He says the guys, not the bros. But then all the guys are gonna want JM out.
exactly.
If you're a boy, you're gonna want JM out, even if you're not a bro, even if you're not a part of all of that. Um, so I don't know. It's gonna be very tricky. Um, people, Fanel says people are too scared to blindside week one, but yet here we are. Like this was a not as a blindside, but it was a backdoor.
I
We
don't know if people are too
had a
scared to
good
blindside.
season of blindsides. You're blind. People were blindsided left and right on your season.
Period. That's why I'm like, I mean, my week our I mean my week one eviction was a blindside. So like I don't think people are too scared. I think it's just like I think people just want to go with majority. So like if majority last minute switches, then I guess that's what we're doing, you know?
Yeah,
Especially in
and
those like high stress like situations.
yeah. And you're really not going to see that. We're definitely not going to see that in a daily today. We're definitely not going to see that in the daily tomorrow. I don't think. I think that as of right now, Jam was going through his numbers of like who he could potentially, who he potentially has. And I think I don't know. He can't really there's still a few numbers that he's missing. But Kuzi's making it seem like she would keep him, which would make sense,
Of
except
course.
that it just doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case. So I'm just kind of wondering. Um we'll see. I mean, we'll agree. I think JM shouldn't go, but I think
I think he'll
JM
probably
may.
go. I think that from what the edit is giving and from what Dan is even saying, like, "Oh, I'm a lot happier now that Jam's on the block, like, this is so much easier for me." I would assume that the house maybe not be vibing with him very much, and, like, for Santina to be like, "Yeah, I mean, I know what she meant, but when she was like, 'Yeah, I mean, if someone I didn't like JM was tickling me, then, like, I probably would be like, 'What are you doing?' But if someone I liked did it, I'd probably laugh." I feel like little things like that, even though I'm sure she meant, like, "Oh, if I like someone," I just feel like the vibes in the house might be like, "Let's get him out," and it's very easy to for a house to just like, it's a microcosm of the world, you know? If 5 people are being like, "This person's toxic," you're like, "Maybe they are toxic, I guess."
Yeah.
I guess they are putting the mood down, and then you, like, look for every little micro thing that they do, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, they're negative, let's get them out," like, they're turning the mood down. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the vibe in the house, then I feel like that's why Jam goes.
Yeah. So here's here's the thing, right? You're right. We may not be able to get the full scope of like whether or not there could potentially be a blind side. I still think that we can.
Mhm.
We like as if I'm playing the game. But I still think that they can have one. Um Spoiler to like what the dailies have given today is that there seems to be a women's alliance forming between Claudia,
Mhm.
um Shania, Renee, and Santina. Don't ask me why
Well,
Santina. Don't
it
ask me why Santina. It doesn't make any sense, but
but my thing with that is that, like, only 2 of those 4 people are voting. So it's like, great. We have a women's alliance of 4 people, but
Correct. But from dailies, we've also seen that Vanessa and Kuzi are very strong about wanting to get the men out as well. So I think that it's to their benefit to keep JM.
oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
JM, another digital daily that was not shown yet is the conversation that is going to happen with Santina and JM after the blind side. And we'll see that JM has been pitching really, really hard to uh to just stay in the house, and that includes his campaign to Santina and telling her that he is not after her, that he thinks um that he still wants to work with her, and that people wouldn't really see that coming in terms of them working together. So not quite sure if Santina's biting. Santina has been really hard to peg because she's been just keeping a lot to herself, and she's been doing a lot of shady things where I can't really peg her as a like how to peg her as a player. Like she's
Mhm.
not a loyal, she's not a loyal person. We know that she's kind of like she's doing the Marty thing and telling people to keep, kick their legs up or, kick up their feet and then just like sending them home and putting them on the block.
No.
But this is a hot mess that we get in this first week where we're just like, I don't know. Like a girl who's in the Bros Alliance, but is also in an all girls alliance. Like, how does that work? And are you doing that to feed Zach information? Since it just felt like you were playing you know,
Well,
his game, or are you realizing that Zach is just kind of like this total
well, I think what's
manipulator?
I think also really hard is that, like, we don't actually, like you said, really know how Santina feels because Santina could have very much well sat with all those girls and then gone to the diary room and been like, I don't trust any of them. Like, they can say whatever they want, but I'm not working with all the girls. I already said that at the beginning of my HOH week. So, like, sure, I'll sit here and pretend, but, like, I'm going back and I'm telling Zach everything. You know what I mean? Like,
For
we
real.
don't know. Like, she could be just BSing the whole situation. So, it'll be interesting. As of right now, by just the way that the episodes have been edited and been leaning towards, my money is on JM leaving. Just because I just feel like that's just kind of like I feel like Zach will just revert back to wanting to get JM out. Ty will want to get JM out. Roberto will want to get JM out. Um, and that's already 3 people, 4 people. Jonathan will go with whatever they say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like it would take someone to kind of be like, you know what? Let's get rid of Dan.
Yeah.
Which seems a little less likely. But I see someone asked, who do we want to win HOH next week?
That's a good question. And while we're saying this, everybody can also put in the chat who you would want to win HOH and who you like the most so far. I don't know. To be quite honest, I would love to see a
Roberto the
Kuzi.
player.
I don't know. I don't know. I would say
I
I'd want to see a Roberto HOH, but then at this point, I don't know if he dislikes Zach that much to where he would do it this early and try to backdoor him, or put him up because he's
mm,
not gonna put guys up.
I think that Claudia HOH could be cute. I think that she would get rid of Zach.
I do not.
You don't
I
think?
I I think I don't know how I feel about Claudia. Like I like her. I like her and I want to like her more in terms of like I think they're all great people, but in terms of game alignment, like Claudia says the things that I want to hear her say, which is she's going to target bros,
Mm-hmm.
but then she's
Her
with
actions
Ty,
are
and the
different.
fact that she could still be with Ty after seeing these clear red flags tells me that she's gonna kind of be a shit show. And I don't
Mm,
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I don't want her to break my heart. Me be like, yes, Claudia all the way, and all of a sudden she's just like, it becomes a Ty HOH
yeah,
because he kicks up the charm because he, does all the right
I
things. I
would
wouldn't mind Claudia like as a third week HOH and hope that Ty like sticks some more feet in his mouth.
mm, I would love to see, like, a koozie HOH, but I don't want her to have too much spotlight on her too early, you know? Like, that's my issue, is
Yeah.
that, like, I would love for her to kind of, like, assert herself and set herself up in the game, but I don't want everyone, because I feel like right now she's doing a very good job of, like, being very social, being likable, and kind of, just playing the background, which is great early on. You don't wanna be a Zach and trying to be dictating the game. Um, so I would obviously love for her to win. I'm a stan, but I want her to go far, you know? So I need her to maybe let someone else take a shot at someone else, you know? Her kinda be right there, but not exactly in the light, you
Yeah,
know?
actually, now that I think about it, I'm gonna actually agree with Lisa. I might want a Vanessa. I kind of want a Vanessa HOH. I think that she is the perfect just wild card right now because even though she has said that she wanted to bro it, like that she wanted to adopt a bro, she has literally shown the very very opposite of that. Like
I agree.
she has been really buddy buddy with Kuzi. They have both said that they wanted guys out. She has not really connected with absolutely any of the men thus far. I think she looks very dispensable to a lot of people in the house, and I want her
Oh,
to get
very
a
that.
little bit of that, you
Poor Kuzi.
know. I hate the fact that she's constantly vacuuming and it messes up all of the digital daily audio, which is insane. I hate you, Shark. I will never buy a Shark vacuum in my life because of the trauma from that. But I'm totally being dramatic, but I won't.
He's a JK.
But
I love.
I think yes, I think Vanessa would stir this up. I think she would be like, there was a moment where she said that she would put Hope up, and Hope already from the first like couple days was already like on edge about like how he was feeling and they had to talk him off a ledge. So I think like, oh my God, Vanessa getting an HOH, putting Hope up and having him like go berserk
Like Spiral.
would be insane. And I feel really
Mm,
bad saying this because I mean these are people. So
of
like I
course.
understand this. I apologize. This is just me wanting to watch it. It's just like anybody else, but like I don't really want him to spiral out of control. I just like yeah, I just want to see some really good, some really good gameplay um out of that, and I think Vanessa's ready. I think Vanessa's ready to make, to make a move, and I
I
think
hope so. My only worry with Vanessa is that she might, default back to her original strat and be like, "Oh, now that I'm in power, now like the bros are gonna come to me and now, now I can weasel my way in with them." That's my only fear. As of right
yeah.
now, she, like you said, has been showing no sign of that, but I just worry that her default tendencies might be like, "You know what? These guys are kind of running the show and now they're coming to me. This is my chance to, weasel my way in, kind of do what they want this week so that way, I can set myself up." And I just need drama, you know?
Yes. Yes, that. Very much that. And for people said, imagine Anika's HOH controlled by the guys. No, actually, Anika had wanted to kind of get rid of some people, but I don't think she would ever backdoor Daniel like Daniel and Anika in the dailies, that's like his good sis. Believe like I didn't think that it was gonna be her that he was going to pick to be
See,
to
didn't
to
expect that,
be the
but
good sis. Like I'm
here we
surprised
are.
that Daniel and Kuzi aren't like really chopping it up the way I thought they would. But I mean, there's still time, right?
Yeah, it's so hard because like I obviously want like the faves to win HOH, but I just like don't want them to, like I said, put a target on their back too early. Because right now I feel like Kuzi, I feel like Daniel have been doing a very good job of like laying low, assessing
Yeah.
what's going on, kind of seeing like where the dynamics lie in the house. And like that's a very powerful spot to be in itself. Like, I feel like
No,
no one is like, "Oh, let's put up Kuzi." Like, no one's saying, "Let's put up Daniel."
exactly, but that's exactly why I think I would want Vanessa to have the HOH because Kuzi
Mm,
and Vanessa have been like
exactly.
this. So that is going to be a dual HOH. That's going to be great gameplay from Kuzi's end in terms of who they're going to put up, and more than likely they will be putting up bros.
We'll see.
I'm
All I know is
excited about
that
it. Oh, I got excited now. I got excited, and I'm gonna be really sad if Vanessa doesn't win HOH.
it'll be I mean, we'll have to wait until, Tuesday to see, but actually, probably Monday from the Digital Daily if it shows.
Yes. So tomorrow will be the eviction, and then
Oh, I guess maybe on Friday
huh?
from the Digital Daily, I guess we might be able to see the HOH.
We might be able to, yeah, I think we'll find out who the HOH is for a digital on Friday. But for the most part, yeah, we probably won't see much except for who goes out and then the
I
HOH
just know
competition.
if I if I go onto that Bird app and I see, Ty is the new HOH, or Zach is the new HOH, I mean, girl.
Yeah. There was I know someone said that Anika was a guy's girl, and I
Well, who
did
did she
not
say what her targets were on the first episode,
um
second episode?
Ty was one of her targets, I
I think
thought,
so.
wasn't
She
it?
said I thought she said, like, Ty, JM, Renee, and one other person. She's like, "I don't trust them." Was it Claudia?
Probably yes. And then Kuzi was like, "No, girl, you
Yeah,
need
like,
to
"Girl,
be
use on
with
the bros."
you need to do these bros. Have you seen them?" I don't necessarily think she's a um that she's that she's a guy's girl because I don't really see that.
I think she's for herself at the end
I
of the
think
day.
yes, I think she's for herself, and I think that she's also someone who hasn't made a lot of connections in the house.
Mhm.
So, yeah, take yours as a will. I mean, I had Anika down as a first boot, and I had Renee down as a first boot. There's a reason, well, not for Renee, but for Anika, there's a reason that she was put up on the block, and I think it was because she just has a hard time connecting with people, and she has a resting bitch face, and all of the other things that she said in her bio. It's like she knew that this was going to happen.
I mean, she
So
says she's not a nice person, so we'll see.
but I would say like anything, I don't know. I don't see Ty really going home anytime soon. If anything, he could be protected by Claudia right now. He's being protected by Kuzi right now. He's being protected
By
by
Zach,
Zach. He's
all
being
the
protected
bros.
by Santina. I don't think there's anybody really looking at Ty. I am hoping he says some more sweater gate situations. There's a couple more sweater gate situations to kind of start dropping more red flags so that
I
people
wonder,
can
do you think that if Zach keeps being Zach and Zacking, that if we get like
I'm
a
sorry, I cannot. Lisa, you
not big
are
major,
like you
Elisa's on one.
you are you're you're killing me right now because this
Not you dying at that. Um, I was just saying, do you think that if Zach keeps Zacking and kind of dictates, do you think that if we get like a Roberto HOH, they tries to backdoor Zach?
I think I would like to see that.
Oh,
I
same. I would eat it up,
I would
but
love to see that, and I think it's possible, but I also think it's just so early, as a British would say, "Oh, it's so early days, love. It's early days." But I would say yes, but I think he could also just throw away
default.
his HOH and do a default because it's still week 2, and he would probably be like, "I'm not ready to get rid of somebody just yet." I don't know. We haven't
Yeah,
seen enough
that's
dailies to
fair.
know if his
That's
disdain
fair.
for Zach and Santina have
Well, I
like
thought weren't the dailies saying that they don't trust Roberto anymore? Was it
yeah.
Roberto? So I feel like
Yeah.
if the vibes are off, then I mean, you pick up on it when people are like, when you're like, yeah, so like when you used to be like this, then you're like, yeah, so like next week, like what's the plan moving forward? And they're like, I don't know, we'll just play it by ear. You're like, oh, huh, we'll
Yeah,
play
I
it by
just think
ear.
that they just recognize that they're very much trying to play the same game. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I see what you
And
mean.
I think that Zach and Roberto, and I think that this was actually something that we had said on, during our cast assessment, is that they were going to be kind of running, the thing. Like Roberto seems like he's going to be kind of running the bros too, like kind of that, the person who is gonna keep them together or put them, and like not put them together, but he was gonna keep them
Like the glue, yeah.
like the glue. And then and Zach as well could have potentially been that person, as could be that
Hmm.
potential as well, and just happens to be that they are both the same, and now they're just bumping, they're bumping heads. But the way that Zach is just acting,
I
it
think
just,
because it's a little too controlling. Like
yes.
I think that there's a way to manipulate people in a way where it feels like it's their idea versus like literally telling someone that their decision is obscene and that I'm so pissed that you're not doing what I want to do. Like, let me tell you how to play this game. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love Brian saying Zach is now a verb. Huh? I think that it could definitely much be. I'd be like, you're zacking out right now. You're totally zacking. You're being a Zach. You're, yes.
How do you mean
He's
that?
totally zacking right now. When you're gaming too hard, oh, you're zacking out. What? When you're mansplaining, don't zack me. Don't zack me up. Why you zacking me?
I can't with you.
We're gonna use that as a thing. Sorry, guys. Nothing against these individuals. Sorry, I already had to like block
Oh,
a few people on my Twitter
yeah. I
saying
mean,
insane things because I said Kuzi threw someone under the bus, and they're like, I can't believe this bitch calling Kuzi out. Be like, but wait, this is exactly what she did. She's still one of my favorite players, and I'm still like rooting for her. I just don't know where I'm still not understanding her game. But for me to say something like that, I'm just like, yo, y'all could get a little crazy up in this bird app,
not the bird app.
So
But
it
yeah,
is.
no, Elisa has it correct, throwing a fit like a 2-year-old and stomping out of the room. It was just a lot where he's like, "Yeah, do you hear what they want to do now? They want to get rid of JM, even though I said that's what we wanted to do. How dare they?"
Absurd. Okay, do what you want, but it's absurd. Bye.
You guys just aren't seeing the picture here. Like, okay.
I mean, seriously,
I
it's
also love how he before not to circle back, but I just love how when he's like talking to Santina, it like immediately is like Ty's choice, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Ty and Ty saying, we jam. Maybe Renee's the girl that's got to go." I'm like, "Oh, it wasn't your decision at all. You, but now you're fighting so hard tooth and nail for it."
I
That's what
just
I'm saying. I'm
think
like, you're not. Are we not clicking? Like, what's not clicking?
I just think it's like such bad gameplay to go this hard the first week. It's not even your HOH, bro. Like it's
It's
not.
reminding me of my week 2 in the house when like the whole house was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get rid of Josh," and then like the day of, people are like, "We're not gonna get rid of Josh. How dare you want to do that? Okay, you're gonna hide your votes. This is what we're gonna do. You two are gonna vote for this person, and then we're gonna say it was these two people, and then we're gonna do this." And people are like, "You're doing too much. We're You need to calm down, babe. Let's it's week 2. Let's tone it back."
I mean, I get it, but and you guys didn't even have, if anything, the things that was supposed to be done for was supposed to be for Ty and Jed. Like that's that's what all of that ruckus should have been for. Like
Right, girl.
it's like, what, we're doing all of this for JM. You think that JM is the biggest threat in this game, the one who just literally just said, I'm gonna put up bros if I'm on the block. Like that's your biggest threat, not the person who said, let me explain this game to you,
Let me
or
teach
the
you how to play.
person who said, let me teach you how to play. That's not the guy
Or the
who
guy that
said, who told the HOH that it's absurd that
well, my thing
she's
too
going
is that
with a
like
different with the original plan.
I feel like everyone has been saying like it's very apparent that like Zach has a lot of influence on the people in the house. So like me when I'm watching that, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not a fan of that." You know? Like, if I'm there, I'm like, "Why are we letting this one person dictate the whole house?" You know?
Oh, that's always a red flag. I mean, well, for me it is. I guess for certain people it is.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're not used to being talked that way. I feel that for some people, if they're in corporate situations, if they're just like people who are okay with being told what to do,
We're used to it,
then
yeah.
and are used to that, then that's what they're gonna do. I don't think it's necessarily wrong or right, but at the same time, like my mama don't even tell me what to do no more. Like
But my thing is that I'm just always so confused, and I hate to, like, keep bringing it up. I just, like, don't know where, like, the audacity comes from. Like, I just don't know, like, where are you getting, like, "Oh, you need to listen to me right now?" Because I'm like, "You didn't win that competition, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I did. You didn't even come in second." So, like, I don't know why, like, you just feel like now, like, you have all this control and all of this knowledge. Like, that's what I'm just confused
Brayden,
about.
Brayden, you're confused because
If I
it's still
was
part of
her, well, I
I'm
know where
sorry,
it
because
comes
this is North
from.
America, so you know where it comes from. I
Well,
mean,
of
we ain't gonna have a
course,
whole
but
hour of like what that where that stems from, but I
oh, I
mean,
know where
some
it
people.
stems from, girl. I'm just confused as to why people are like, "Yeah, okay." Like,
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I was there, I'd be like, "What? Like, what?
well,
Okay, sure."
that's the thing, right? I mean, and this stems from just like the the process of having to go through Big Brother in general. You have to have some followers and you have to have some leaders. Like it's the very intricate puzzle of putting a cast together. Like the reason
Very bad.
why you're doing like 100 question personality tests and psych evaluations and everything that these cast members have to do in order to get casted
Hmm.
to begin with. They're not gonna they're gonna get a few followers, they're gonna get a few leaders, they're gonna see like this person they're gonna basically just kind
I
of
know,
puzzle
like,
them
you
up
default back to,
together.
like, who's gonna take the leadership position? Oh, I guess
Yeah, who's
this
gonna take the
person.
leadership position? Oh, Zach is, but who's the antithesis of Jack? Or oh, my bad, Zach. Zach and Jack rhyme. That's not good. Zach. And there's not a girl that's named Jessica in there, so they're gonna pick the the other person who's not gonna be okay with being told
The other Janie.
what to do. So I feel like Kuzi and Zach do not have a great relationship. I don't I think Vanessa is not gonna have a good did not have a good relationship with Zach. And I know Vanessa's definitely not someone who's gonna get told what to do. Like she's way too old for that,
I
you
don't
know?
know. From her video, she seems down for
Very
it.
weird, right? But we've always seen that videos with these
That's why I'm so
bios are
confused
just
because I'm
so
like,
different.
her bio was like, "Oh my god, I love alphas." Like, basically, like, I love being submissive and, like, following a plan and doing what I'm told. So it's like, "Oh, okay." But then, like, in the show, she's like, "Oh no, how dare they?
For
We're gonna do
real.
that."
This girl be
So
catfishing.
I don't know what's gonna
She
happen.
lied. She
It'll be
lied, Lord.
interesting. I think that Zach's ego will inevitably get the best of him. I think that he will discount a lot of people very early on. I mean, as we've seen, uh, I think he was talking about Renee, where he's like, or Annika, where he's like, oh, like we don't have to worry about her. Like she's nobody. She's not going to win anything. And it's like, I mean, I guess, babe, but you guys have the same track record at this point. So like, I don't know where you're
I
both coming
cannot.
from. Like,
You know how many men I've heard say that year after year after year after year, who also said that on Tiff season, on Tiffany and Chada's season of 23 was the first boot. What's his name?
oh, Travis,
Oh, I was gonna call him Tyler. The Travis? Trap.
girl.
Sorry. Yes, him. He basically said the same thing before he up and left, was basically that the women were useless in the house and could not win a competition. And at that point, only one competition had been played.
That's the
So
thing, it's
sit
so
your ass
weird to make
down.
such
Just
blanket
sit.
statements where it's like, maybe it's week one. Like, you don't know what anyone is capable of at this point, you know?
Yeah. We will see. Still excited. I'm still gonna give this like this this season. I really want for people to keep watching the season, keep interacting with the season because I do feel like it's gonna pick up and I feel like it already has.
Okay.
Brian, you know so little about these people, can't even predict who the leaders and the followers are. I think I can a little bit. The digital dailies are kind of opening up a little bit more to kind of understanding. But you're right. Like at first I thought Renee wasn't doing anything and then bam, all of a sudden today she just like threw it out that she wants to get rid of guys and she, was starting to campaign and just threw her foot in her mouth with, telling the major bro that she thinks there's a bros alliance. It's, the stupidest thing. But, I enjoy that stuff. That's the messy shit that I live for. Because I knew that it was gonna be a chaotic cast that I would probably all be friends with at the end of this, like, because I'm not playing with them. Let's just
Well, I feel like that's always the case where you're like, I don't
yes.
actually have to be there with them, so like they all seem very, very nice.
As
Hey.
long as I don't have to play with you, we are good. We're Gucci.
Well, I think that's like a big
But
thing where you're like, oh baby girl, if I was in the house with you, you would have drove me insane.
oh,
So,
absolutely.
but thank God I'm
Absolutely.
not. Thank God I'm watching.
No, you know how you have friends that are like, okay, I know everybody has to have these type of friends. Like I have a sets of friends, like the friends that I only party with. Not but I don't mix the friends that I party with the friends that I do like my book clubs and like my really
Yeah,
intellectual
different
shit
types of
with,
people.
right? I'm not going to sip and paint, and read a book with someone who I'm going to the club with and acting ratchet with. It just doesn't mix. And I feel like that's kind of the big brother when you're playing the game.
Mm,
It's just like I can love you and love your personality and love you in
very that.
small doses, in very, very small doses. But if you were in the house with me, you has to be the first one evicted. The first. It would just wouldn't work. And I mean, I see that with a lot of my relationships in the BB community. Like people are just like, how? And it's like, because we're not playing together. The simple as that. They're funny. Everybody in their own way is charming,
Of course.
right? We all find different people charming. We all get along with different people. I sometimes have really good friends that have friends that I don't personally care for. But it still all works. And
Screaming.
yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, that's just life. But I'm
True.
super excited. So we both think that JM is going to leave the house tomorrow, unfortunately. You said that you wanted a a koozie HOH?
No, I said I mean, obviously, I would love to see the queen win, but I think what you said probably best is like if we get like a Vanessa HOH or like
Yeah.
yeah, because again I would love to see Daniel win, but I mean realistically, what I would love is JM stays and JM wins HOH. That's the dream right there, baby. But
The
you know,
I'll take it. I wouldn't mind that too. I wouldn't mind that too.
oh, because the
We
way
know
that
that
they would
Kuzi
be
would be
scrambling.
safe. The way people would be safe. Santina would be in hot water, I think, because she has not.
I mean, they say F around and find out, baby girl. So,
I love that we're so fucking pussy right now. There you go. Well,
but
that's what we think, and we're gonna
yeah,
stick to that.
closing
Um,
out very that I think Jam unfortunately will be our official first boot this season. Hate
yeah.
to see it, especially for like a super fan,
He
but
was definitely not on our first boot lists, but he was kind of in that upper quad, in that upper
yeah, I think like we
quarter.
said, we just worried about him playing too hard too fast. I think that's like the always the big worry with super fans. So
Yeah, absolutely. Then tomorrow is you will have digital dailies are up. A new one came out today. There's going to be another one tomorrow. Tomorrow's eviction. For those who aren't watching, either if you're from Chicago, look at me. If you're from the US, and don't know where to either watch it live or watch the digital dailies. Bruno from BB Can 3, he has a kick stream. It's
Mm.
kick.com/Capone Gaming. He also has a Twitch, but he's doing the streaming every day. He streams the digital dailies every single day at night. um for the 2.5 hours he kind of
Oh.
fast forwards the whatever parts,
Mhm.
and then we just watch them and kind of go over through either the chat, or he kind of goes and talks a little bit about the strategy behind what they're talking about. And then he does all 3 days. So for those who don't have a VPN and are not in Canada, or if you're in Canada and you're on a completely different time zone and you want to watch it in a different time zone, or you don't have what cable or the chat, or if you don't have global, I don't know how that works for you all, but make sure you check out Bruno. Also, Braden and I are going to be doing these so far Wednesdays,
Oh, yes,
half an hour
excited.
after the show. As of right now, that's going to be kind of our set in stone date. Things can change, so just make sure that whatever you do, just click like, subscribe, click to receive those notifications so that you know when we're on. We will try to do it, as early as possible, but we're just, we're last minute bitches.
Just
So
the
it's
little
just,
girls living our silly
you
little lives, so
know, yeah, we just like to live our lives a little bit and, fly by the seat of our pants. And but also we will be having some guests. If you haven't watched our cast assessment, we had the
the queen
lovely and
herself.
amazing Queen Betty from BB Can 10, and we definitely have other surprise guests for the next couple weeks to come. If there's anything that you want to see, let us know.
Period.
Put it in the comments. Let us know who you think is going to be out, who you want to see the next HOH as the next HOH. And as always, we love and just appreciate all of you for supporting
Yeah,
us
thank
at
you so much for
GLATD.
watching and always supporting.
Yes.
We always appreciate it. I appreciate you all.
Yes. And I love doing it with my bestie Brayden.
Mwah.
Mwah.
The queen herself.
Yes. So thank you all. And we will see you